Your biggest accomplishments in your life, just anything?
I think I'd have to say my children. And if you can take a little bit of credit for your children, but your children are individuals and they're people, but hopefully you've guided them and been an example to them.
What or whom influenced you to run for the state senate?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, it was looking at the faces of my little grandchildren and wondering, what their future was going to be in our country. What was my legacy going to be to them? Because our country's debt continued to grow, the deficit was growing, people were unemployed, and I wanted those little children to have the same opportunity that their grandfather and I had had, which was to be able to live the American dream.
All right, and what are your plans?
Well, I'll tell you, I've spent the last few months developing this plan.
Okay.
And it's called Linda's Plan, and you can look at it at lindasplan.com.
Okay.
And get all of the specifics in that. It's really 6 basic principles. The first one is cutting taxes for the middle class. An average family of 4 in Connecticut that earns $125,000 would have $500 more a month in their pocket.
Right.
And 2, I'd reduce taxes on businesses from 35% to 25% so we can be globally competitive. 3, I'd roll back our overburdensome regulations that Congress has passed. 4 now.
How have you made impact in Connecticut now?
Well, I think the most significant impact in Connecticut really has been the growth of WWE.
Working in the wrestling for more than a decade now, what, in your opinion, what is the difference between the entertainment world and the political world?
Well, the entertainment world is scripted programming, Hollywood-type scripting to put smiles on people's faces, or to entertain them. The political world, or the actual, part of being a United States senator, is really serious business when you're looking at what our country is facing today.
Right. Would that solidify you as a person, or would you think you're always going to be shadowed under the former CEO of WWE?
Well, I would hope that at the end of my tenure as a United States senator, I would certainly have accomplishments that would be equal to or greater than the accomplishments I've had as a CEO. Very proud to be the CEO, to have been the CEO of WWE.
Have you done anything to kind of spurt the young people to get involved to vote? Because I know a lot of the big percentages are for the young people like me and other people.
I'm 39 years old, and if I was elected to the Senate, amazingly, I'd be the youngest member. That says something about the U.S. Senate, that there's nobody in their mid to early 30s, and so I really feel like if I'm not speaking to young people, who is? I'm going through the same struggles they are. I'm raising 2 young kids. My wife and I are still paying back our student loans. We got a big mortgage. And so, I feel like if I get elected to the Senate, I've got to have an obligation. I will have an obligation to speak up for, both young people and young families in this state.
Taxes and unemployment rate is one significant things that is hurting the state of Connecticut. Which one out of those 2 are you going to tackle first?
Well, I think they're tied together. They're tied together in this sense. When you give a tax cut to somebody making $40,000 a year, that money goes right back into the economy. And when that money goes back into the economy, it creates jobs. If you get a $100 tax cut per month and you're making $40,000 a year, you're going to use that $100 to fix up your house and maybe pay a local plumber, or go out to a restaurant to treat your kids and employ some local small businessmen. So I think that we got to focus our tax cuts on people that are making lower middle incomes and middle incomes. That's the difference that I have with Linda McMahon. That's the difference that I have with Linda McMahon. Linda McMahon has a plan on her website that would, give herself a $7 million tax cut. And I'm just not sure that if Linda McMahon gets $7 million, that all of that is going to find its way back into the Connecticut economy. I think a lot.
If you don't win the seat, where do you see Connecticut in the near future if you don't win?
If Linda McMahon wins this seat, the Republicans probably control the United States Senate. Some real radical Tea Party Republicans will be in charge of the U.S. government, and a lot of bad things happen.
See, what are some issues that you feel that the Democrats and the Republicans have to agree on to make this work?
Yeah, well, you know what? My whole time in politics, and I've been doing this for 12 years or so, has always been about trying to get Republicans and Democrats to agree. I'm a Democrat, but I think ultimately we got to find common ground. And so, when I was in the state legislature, I was the author of Connecticut's stem cell investment law that put about $100 million into life-saving stem cell research. And I wrote that bill with Jody Rell, Republican governor, in Congress. I'm working right now to save manufacturing jobs in this state, and I'm doing that through